Season 9, Episode 5, where we watch Extracted, Season 1, Episode 1. And you gotta get used to drinking warm water. That's gross. I'm Chris Lorenz.
You better not screw me. How about thank you? This is Brian.
I'm not pushing the fucking button. Let him suffer. This is Max.
Those are all quotes from this week's show. But last week, we watched Finding the One on Amazon Prime, and you guys voted a middle third show. So tell us what you thought about this week's show on Twitter at Who Put This On. Brian, what was that show?
All right, this week we watched Extracted. This show features 12 untrained contestants who must survive in the Canadian wilderness while their family members watch and decide whether to extract them from the competition. Participants can be removed at any point by their loved ones if they feel the conditions are too harsh. And this is a groundbreaking survival competition and where they're not in charge of their destiny. That's Extracted on Hulu.
And Fox.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about that.
It was also on Tubi.
Oh, it was?
Tubi.
Oh, I guess Tubi is like a Fox thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an interesting show. It's kind of like Alone, but it's also kind of like My Mom, Your Dad.
It's actually a shockingly like novel concept, I feel.
Yeah. So the idea is there's groups of three. One person is the survivalist, aka goes out in the middle of the woods. And some have more training and some people have less training. And then there's two other people. They're in like support HQ, and they get to like fight over supplies to send to their other person.
And also decide if they have to pull their people out.
Oh yeah, that's right. They get at any point in time they can hit the extraction button and get that person out of there. And what happened? How much money do they win?
They win $250,000.
Woo!
I feel like they didn't play that up that much.
No, because it's a weak prize. Come on.
What do you mean? What are the
dollars.
quotes? When I wrote the show, they said, "How much will you push your family for a fortune?" That's a direct quote from the beginning of the show. That's a big push.
I guess. I don't know. I also have paid attention to the show.
$250,000 is not a lot of money. I mean, it's less money than on Alone, but you're probably not going to be out here as long, I'd imagine.
So what's the money per day? You know, what's the effective cost?
That's a good point. I don't know. Like, how much money did that one guy earn for being on the show for like a day?
I mean, we all know that he's gone home yet, right?
He's got to go home.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oops.
In the next like minute of episode 2.
Shocker. Should we get into it?
We are in it. What do you mean?
We're in it. I mean, we don't even know who the guy is if you're a listener. Yeah, we're talking, of course, about Woody, 50, retired cop. He thinks he's really good. His son's a survivalist. He drinks some gross water, like a whole ass canteen of it, and immediately starts vomiting everywhere.
Hopefully that saves him. You know,
maybe
get that dirty bacteria out of there.
Ugh. I mean, I immediately said, yeah, that dude's going to be out in like a second. How? Everybody knows you don't drink still water.
Yeah, but if you find a lake, I mean, all you need to do is walk around until you find like a stream that goes into the lake.
Well, he clearly didn't do that.
Like if there's usually that, I mean, that's what I would try to do. I don't know what kind of like resources they or like things that they can't go a certain distance away probably. So I don't know if that would really help. But that guy, before he drank that water, he is not looking good to begin with.
No. Like he was like already had like wet clothes. He didn't have like anything set up, no fire. He was just going real south real quick. And his quote at the beginning was, "Babe, I wanted to go in the show because I wanted to show that you're still married to a rock star and you're show my kids that their dad is still cool," which should have been immediate foreshadowing that he was neither of those
He's
things.
not cool. Was he the one that got like the fire bow thing and didn't know how to use it?
Yes,
Yeah.
and his son, a survivalist, was very embarrassed by this.
They didn't know how to use a bow drill. Like I theoretically know how to use a bow drill, but like using a bow drill to make fire is not easy. Like even if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's like the hardest one, isn't it? Like other tools are just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean they showed people with like magnesium, and that's really easy to make fire. That's how they do it on Survivor. But like this one was given like wood, and you have to like vibrate get friction on the wood so hot that it like starts a fire, and like that's just a lot. Even if you have a professional toolkit, which this is was like semi professional. All right, so that was Woody, but we should talk about Anthony. Anthony is 18. His parents are there, Tony and Yolanda, and he's the one that said drinking warm water was gross, which I thought was pretty funny. And he's there, and he gets like some really good equipment in the supply drop, which we can go over, I guess. And you know, he gets like a fishing rod, he gets the fire kit, and like it probably gets food and water, I think. And he's got it all. And he gets down to the lake, and he's like, what the fuck is this? This is not a fishing pole. It's just like wire. It's like,
Yeah, this kid's a fucking brat, and I hope he gets eaten by a bear.
he gets really angry about that.
Yeah, he says he's like this professional fisherman, or like he is at least good at fishing, and is just so upset about the line just not being in like a perfect ball and everything that he just loses his shit. Ugh.
And he like complains the rest of the episode. He's the first one that gets fire, and like he's just chilling, and he's just like stewing in his anger. And he's like telling in the like as the day goes on, he's just telling his parents more and more like, you got to get me out of here. You got to get me out of here. And spoilers for episode 2, he done. He out.
What? Oh, I really wanted to
Eh,
keep him in.
Thank you for doing the hard research, Chris.
So Christina was watching. She watches a show with me all the time. She immediately started watching episode 2.
Oh,
That's the only reason I knew.
okay.
Because I mean, I had to fold my laundry and then prepare for this.
So you got the Cliff Notes.
No, I mean, I was still in the room when it's.
Okay.
As I said, it's the first minute of episode 2. He gets kicked out. Like, I didn't even see. I saw the aftermath. Like, and I was in there, whatever.
How is Pukey Boy not the one that they cliffhanged on? Like, come on.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess we could also talk about so they drop these people off like it's Fortnite. You're just dropped in the middle of wherever from a helicopter, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they're in British Columbia, and they have to go through the first night with like no supplies. All they have is a camera, which is pretty rough. I feel like you don't have a tarp. Like every survival show, you get like a tarp. And like you get some things, even Alone does, Survivor does. I guess maybe Naked and Afraid doesn't. I don't know. It's just like hard to stay out in the middle of nowhere with nothing.
And these are also supposed to be amateurs. Like, so maybe they know a little bit, but yeah, they're not given anything to survive.
Like, it's hard enough to do that if you're an amateur with all the tools, but they just drop you there and they're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty hard. And like, but some of the people did better than others. Like some people set up teepees and like then put down like, ferns and moss to like sleep on. It's like, oh, you know what you're doing. Uh, and then once you get supplies, you're going to be great. You'll be golden. And then there's let's see, who uh, we got Davina, and she's a professional clown, and she just is sitting there staring at wood for like an hour.
Yeah,
Trying to show.
She couldn't build a lean-to. She's also a hairstylist. She's a hairstylist and a clown. Find yourself a girl who can do both.
And her friends are there.
And her
Tori,
stepdaughter.
Devin. I just wrote down names. I didn't write down any relationships. They're more of a cruise family than a camping family, is what they said.
I'm shocked. I'm astounded.
So yeah, then after the first night, the next day, the people in HQ got to pick a supply. They got to do a supply drop. So each team went one by one and like filled a crate to give to their people. And if they didn't like close the crate in like 5 minutes or whatever, or a minute,
1 minute.
It was a minute.
1 minute,
Yeah,
then they would get nothing.
honestly, it was tight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was somebody broke their crate trying to slam it down. And I was like, that's it. You can't close it. You can't like pretend like it was closed. This is just not closed. You broke it. There should be consequences for that.
I would hope that there'd be still like a hammer and nails so that they can just like fix it up real quick, but then it makes it harder to open. That actually would be kind of good. I wish they did that.
But you only had a minute, so it's like
you can hammer some stuff in a minute.
But
like,
they were
like,
trying to shove it in at the end. It's not like they had
Yeah.
like you could fix it in a minute, sure. But are you gonna break it and they'd fix it in a minute?
But like
Maybe
there
not
were
me.
some teams that like they were trying to stuff in and they realized with 10 seconds left that it's not going to work. So they just like pull out an entire bucket, including all the good stuff inside, and just like, oh, we're sending like 4 items by accident.
Yeah, that was Ryan H, right? And
Yes.
his parents, Candace and Roger.
Yeah.
Whoa. No, Brian, you're not allowed to bring that up. I am the notes person. You can't pull in notes. Get out of here.
You? All right.
You can back me up. You can
all right, I'll back you up.
What
else you
That's
got
all you're
this,
allowed
dude?
to do.
Yeah, so that Ryan and H. Yeah, so what was the order picked? Was it just random?
I don't
Does
think that there
anyone
was
know?
something set. No.
I think it was just random, yeah. They specifically said it's random, or at least who goes first is random.
Because like the people going first, big advantage.
Yeah.
Somebody was pissed because somebody got 2 knives and there was no knives left at the end for people.
Yeah, that was Jacobin, right?
Whoa. Told you.
Yeah, they were pissed about that. And I would be pissed too. Why do you need 2 knives?
Hey, who was Jacobin the one that got 2 knives or the one that's pissed?
Yes. No, they were the one that got the 2 knives.
Yeah. One thing about the show that I don't particularly like is they introduce too many people. They introduce like most of the teams, most of the people, and I don't even know if they did all of the people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe I missed one. So pretty much everyone. And that's a lot of people when you're like nondescript. Kind of, you just don't get a lot of time with each one of them. So you don't know their personalities or anything, except for Anthony.
I mean, they focus on him for a reason too.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's leaving, so like he's got to get some time. But like Jake, who's Jake? I don't know. Rose, Megan. Woody we
Uh,
talked about.
yeah, there were too many people to keep track of.
There was Ryan W. because there was a
He,
Ryan H.
my notes on Ryan W are messy hair crouching towards camera,
I
and
wrote
Ryan H race car.
Ryan W. quit smoking to an Iron Man in 1 year.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Then there was somebody that their parents passed away due to COVID.
Personally, I quit smoking to Avengers Endgame Part 1.
It's not Endgame Part 1, bro. Come
Shut
on.
up.
Get your nerddom right. Haley. We got Ashley. That's about it. I got no notes for those people.
Yeah,
And then I kind of stopped taking notes halfway through this episode, I think.
Yeah, boy, I was really on board with this early on, and I got really bored very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely related to the number of people on the show and how like just how much time each person has been given.
And I also feel like a lot of our survivalist shows we do suffer because we only watch episode 1, where like they don't have any tools, they're just kind of miserable, they're not doing anything interesting.
I don't know. Like if you watch Alone, like
Yeah,
it's very, they do like 4 people an episode, so it's like 4 and 4. So like you get really good sense of who the people are, and then they're like doing interesting things on the first day because they're like finding a campsite and like trying to get water, like running water. They're trying to get water and like, but they have the tools to do it. Whereas like this show, they didn't have any tools to start out with, so it's like suffering, like watching somebody suffer pretty much because they're like they don't have anything and like they're out in the cold all night. So it's like you can't show a lot of that because that's not fun. It's not fun to watch that. And then when they got their tools, it's like there's stuff to show. Like how did they find their place? How's their shelter going? And like that they didn't really show a lot of that. They showed a
yeah.
couple bits of shelter stuff. Like I just don't think the show is showing me interesting things.
They're spending way more time on the HQ than the actual like outdoors, I feel.
Yeah. Like I do think the show is really mostly the HQ. And like winning supplies at HQ is really mostly, I think that's going to be mostly the show.
To its
Yeah,
detriments.
yeah, but I mean, the thing is, with it being amateur, I don't really. I mean, I at least don't feel like it's worth like watching, and you'll see some of the stuff anyway from like the HQ anyway. So why wouldn't they just focus on HQ?
Because the survival part is more interesting.
If I want, I don't know. If I want survival, I can go watch Alone or something. But like it's mostly just like people complaining or just like, oh, like you're not surviving, and you're like, I'm betting on when you're gonna get out.
That's fair. That's fair. It is like, I don't know. I think the added psychological problem of this person trying to decide if this person is done or not is very compelling.
Yep.
And I do appreciate when Anthony's like freaking out and is like trying to get himself out of there. I think that was entertaining.
Yeah,
All
he's
right,
just like,
you ready?
come on out, and then they said no.
All right, who's the worst human being? Why is it Anthony?
Because he's a little bitch that even his parents hate.
Yeah, that kid.
I love
discipline.
the dad goes into the confessional and is like,
He's like,
maybe I was in his life too much. I'm like, what? Who says that?
As somebody
Both
who cares.
both him and the mom are like, "Where did we go wrong?"
And that's great. That's a great moment. All right, Brian. What speed did Max watch this show at?
Man, I think it's gonna be 1.5.
I'm gonna go. I want to go 2, but I feel like I'm gonna go 1 just because he might not have been somewhere where he could speed it up.
The answer is I was watching using the Tubi app for the LG C3 OLED, which I've never used that app before, and I didn't know if it had speed controls or not. So yes, 1x. Boring.
Boom! Suck it, Brian. You
Damn.
suck.
The next time we watch something on Hulu, I'm gonna watch it on my Nintendo Switch just to fuck with you guys.
But does the Nintendo Switch even have a Hulu app?
Oh, it does.
It's one of the few it has.
All right. You learn something every day, I guess. Let's see. We got drinking rules. Brian, what's the drinking rule you got for me?
Cheers when somebody actually makes fire.
That's a good one. Take a drink every time somebody gets a supply drop. Max?
Vomit every time somebody else vomits.
Do you then take the vomit as a shot or like
No.
Oh my god, no.
This is a inverse shot rule, inverse drinking rule.
inverse drinking rule?
Getting creative with it.
Anytime somebody expresses they should be extracted, or I think I'm going to extract them, take a drink.
Every time somebody says they want to be extracted, you take one of the olives out of your martini. And then you eat it with your mouth.
What do you think we're drinking?
Martinis, right?
Chocolate martini for sure. Do you put olives on your chocolate martinis?
Are you talking about espresso martinis?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You don't.
Max, I wish everyone could see Max's face. So good. All right. Would this show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok?
Yeah, probably.
I'm debating that. I think it was moving so fast. I think it was a little more organized. Maybe it'd be okay. But I don't think Quibi is going to fix that.
Yeah, I think it needs more focus, not less time.
Would this be better as a Go 90?
What is that?
It was a Verizon Media Quibi type thing where it was called Go 90 because you would flip your phone 90 degrees to watch it upright or something. It's not really sure.
It's not 90 seconds. It's
no.
That's funny. Should we go back to Vine? Should we be using Vine instead of TikTok?
No, that is a. Sure, fuck it. Would this be better as a Vine?
All right.
Now you can get
we do ratings.
One sec. The dog is woofing at me.
Okay. Dog's woofing at you. We'll wait for you. Let's do our ratings, I guess. Brian, in our stack rankings, we do a top, middle, bottom, third. What's your ranking?
The thing is, like, I really like this concept. Yeah, like there was a lot of people, but I think I'm gonna watch more. I'm gonna put it top of the middle, and I'll check it out and see what happens in episode 2.
I'm gonna put this in the middle. I think the editing was rough, and I'm more interested in the survivalist, which I don't think the show is that interested in the survival aspect of the show. That's more interesting to me, but I would watch more. Max, what do you got for us?
I didn't really have a great time with this show, but maybe it has potential, so I'll give it middle, third, bottom of the middle. It just didn't have anything interesting to say. I think the HQ could be interesting, but so far they've given me no reason to be. I'm not like, damn, I gotta watch this week to week, you know?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Tell us what you thought about this show on Twitter at Who Put This On. Brian, you have any shout outs this week?
Yeah, I'll shout out Invincible. And I'm a little more interested in this season than season 2.
This is season 4.
What is
It's season 3. Season 2 was split into 2 parts.
Yeah. Don't fuck with me.
Are we sure about that? Oh, it does say season 3.
I am sure about that.
Wow. Okay, guys. Calm down.
No.
This season is much better than season 2. It's much more focused on Earth than like season 2 was. Max, any shout outs?
White Lotus is back. First episode was
Yeah, I agree. I like White Lotus, but it's like a slow burn mystery kind of thing, and I don't know if it really set up their mystery pretty like in this first episode very well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I have lots of trust in the showrunners.
That's good. I feel like we've shouted out all the things that I've shouted out before, but White Lotus, Invincible, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and of course Severance. Still good. Very excited to keep watching Severance. All right, that's it for us this week. Tell us what you thought about this show on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/WhoPutThisOn. You can email us questions, suggestions at WhoPutThisOn@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.